We call it karma. Meghan's master plan is now failing miserably as Hollywood cut out Sussex's. Hello, friends. Welcome to the King YouTube channel. We already know what Meghan's original plan was, and while maybe I forgot a few things, as far as I can recall, it went a little something like this: meet, seduce, and marry a prince. And I'm sure she was disappointed, because she didn't get to marry the prince she wanted first of all, and then she had to marry in St. George's Chapel instead of Westminster Abbey as her nemesis had. But anyway, to have a second, and maybe even third or fourth wedding, wearing all white, beamed all over the world probably exceeded her initial expectations. Second goal is to buy up all relevant domain names so that she could save them for the future, including Sussex Royal, announce their engagement and buy a £56,000 dress to wear on the occasion, have interviews with Harry to celebrate their upcoming wedding, and not forget to tell everybody that she was hoping to hit the ground running and help Harry in his royal work. Go through with the wedding, which was probably the best day of her life. I think it was all downhill from there, although she didn't realize it at the time. Begin the process of trademarking their Sussex Royal logo and all the goods that she was planning on selling. Act like a spoiled, entitled brat at the birthday party for her father-in-law, tell the guests that she was feeling bored, and be banished from the event altogether, probably hoping that meant she would never have to go to another event, and then pretend to get knocked up so that she can secure her place in the royal hierarchy. But unbeknownst to her, Buckingham Palace was already making some plans for her to work on Prince Harry's trip to Fiji, Tonga, New Zealand, and Australia. She thought it was just going to be an all-expenses-paid beach vacation along with her friend Jessica Moroni. So while Harry was busy carrying out his duties, she and Jessica were just going to be able to tan in the sun, go swimming, and go shopping, and spend a lot of money that they didn't make. But instead, she was expected to actually show up alongside Harry. And what was really disgusting to Meghan, she had to do all of this without getting paid. Well, I think she learned her lesson back then. Being a member of the royal family, being a working member, was not all she thought it would be. It was not all just going to be glamorous parties, wearing fancy clothing. It was going to be a lot of hard work and often boring work. And Meghan was not going to put up with that. Fights with Harry on the trip were well documented, and when they set off, they had only been married 5 months. She and Harry thought they had done a much better job of the overseas visit than anybody else in the royal family could ever have done, and so they demanded more money for it and higher grade of engagements, so basically the ones that Meghan wanted to do. William and Catherine, they could get to do the other stuff, that boring stuff, because they were nowhere near as popular as Meghan and Harry. Well, the powers that be told them to give up that dream, and boy, did that really upset Meghan. So she put her plan into action. They would run away and go live in sunny California, be besties with all the celebrities that she invited to their wedding, and she would be celebrated and worshipped everywhere she went. It would have been Meghan's dream come true. And while they were busy being glamorous, some poor minions would be marketing their Sussex Royal products online all around the world. Sunshine Sachs even estimated that the merchandise was going to bring in about $500 million in less than 5 years, and Meghan wouldn't have to do a thing. That was her plan from the very beginning, but as we know, Meghan's plans turned to absolute crap when the Queen told her she was not allowed to use the word royal on her merchandise. Oh my God, all those plans, all that money, and it was all for nothing. At the time, even if they were not so popular in the UK, they were pretty popular other places, except, of course, Fiji and Australia by that time, so they could have sold their merchandise with one small change. Meghan had to take away the word royal from the logo, but she would still have marketed Sussex with a crown. But instead, she didn't do anything, and we all know the effect of not doing anything when you have no ideas and have no work ethic. They are where they are, and it could have been different if they had just wanted to put in a little work. They truly are their own worst enemies. They are the architects of their own demise. Mostly unloved and certainly unwanted, how the mighty have fallen in such an incredibly short time. All Meghan's plans have failed. And, her A-list friends have also deserted her. As the late queen said, Meghan has a dangerous level of self-confidence, and that self-confidence is not good for her. In fact, it has caused her downfall. Where is this going to end, though? In other news, scabies Endgame Media released today some claims that Prince William is power-hungry and King Charles is unpopular. Alright, let's look into that. A media frenzy over somebody who can't even edit a community newsletter. Alright, so let's clarify how a job with the royals really works. If you are employed to work at Windsor or Buckingham or Kensington Palace, you need to undergo weeks of background checks before you can be employed. And we're not talking about simply criminal or skills-based checks. And then, once you're officially hired, every single time you enter, your pass is scanned, and it changes on a monthly basis, and your face is scanned before access. The guards are not just some men wearing fancy uniforms. They are all very fit, and they are active militia. They know what they're doing. So the breaking news is that thousands of staff, from clock winders to IT specialists, are all part of this tight-knit, loyal community looking out for the royal family. They would never ever speak to somebody like Scooby-Doo. It doesn't matter what the incentives are. They find books like Endgame and also spare an insult, a slap in the face. I mean, they know all about the truth behind Harry and Meghan. The plus side, though, is that Harry and Meghan and Scooby-Doo do not have a monopoly on writing books. Yes, they do have a habit of making money from their own malicious manufactured gossip. Do you remember Meghan and Harry repeatedly denying that they cooperated with Scooby-Doo on Finding Freedom, and then Meghan was forced by the High Court to admit that in fact she did? She did, through an aide, supposedly, that she secretly instructed. All right, sure. That was her lawyer's explanation to avoid perjury charges. The warning to the three tragics is that there is another book release coming out, and it's not going to be good for the gruesome twosome. At least some people really do love their jobs, and they support the royal family. That is good to know. And the end game is going to be for Harry and Meghan. It's not going to be for the royals. Meghan obviously had no idea what royalty really meant. She had watched way too many Hallmark and Disney films. After acting in a few of those Canadian-backed movies herself, she suffered delusions of grandeur, and she decided to act out her very own script. But unfortunately, or maybe fortunately depending on how you look at it, she was able to get Harry believing that she could then take over the kingdom on her own terms. Well, when she refused to accept the reality that she was only ever going to be a bit player in the British royal family, that's when she lost her mind. She decided to pitch a fit like a little baby and made an absolute ass of herself with her lies and her absurd behavior. Her narcissism, her arrogance, they have really contributed to her downfall. Britain already had a queen. They didn't need this insane woman telling them what to do. I mean, she thought that she should have the job so that she could modernize the royal family, whatever that means. When she found out it wasn't possible to get freebies and sell stories about the royal family, she pitched a fit and she cried racism. When she treated staff like garbage and she was reprimanded for that, she cried racism again. When she claimed that she lost jewelry, it was clearly racist to even mention it. And when she was expected to do a few appearances, to comb her hair, to look nice, to dress appropriately, oh yeah, again, that is racism. But see, Meghan Markle is never going to be happy in life. She's never going to be satisfied because for her, it's all about what she can get away with. It's never about what she can give other people. And so that means she will never be happy. She will never find contentment. She's a grifter. And she saw Harry. She saw a big catch. She thought by getting Harry, she was set for life. And now, I mean, looking at the photos of Meghan and just reading the absurd puff pieces that are coming out, I think she is completely losing her mind. She has no grip on reality at this point. It is sad, too, when you think that Meghan really could have been an agent for positive change in the world. She really could have been like Princess Diana, but unfortunately, that was not in the cards. And it's really all down to her overinflated sense of self and her arrogance. I don't know where Meghan could go from here, to tell you the truth. All her plans have failed. She is so well known now for marrying Harry, other men know what she's all about. So either she's stuck with Harry, or she divorces him and she lives, I don't know where, on the street maybe? At this point, I think she's been around the block a few too many times. I don't think any man is going to want anything to do with her. It's crazy, too, to look back at the engagement photos and the wedding photos. I mean, we had no clue about what was going to happen. And you, what do you think about Meghan Markle? Well, please let me know below in the comments section, and we can also talk about your thoughts and opinions. If you think my video is useful, please don't be afraid to like and share it with anyone else who would enjoy it. And don't be afraid to click the subscribe button to get more updates in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in, have a lovely weekend, and we'll be back to see you all tomorrow.